I'm not on stage. You guys couldn't hear me. Okay. I just said my usual hello. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we'll skip it. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. Crazy times. There's some online shenanigans going on. I'm doing this live at an unusual time. I don't expect anybody to be watching right now, but my schedule has just changed for the summer. And well, I mean, I'm doing a live stream now that I wanted to do about a week or so ago. It's just been hectic, so I figured just do it now and hopefully people watch it. you know, yeah, and my schedule's only going to get crazier, so I might just. I feel like, oh, you guys, I will. I'm plan on doing another live stream on Pride Month. That I was, of course, supposed to do last week, but I will do that this weekend. I feel like, oh, you guys, that I did have another one scheduled. One that I really wasn't. I mean, the thought of doing it crossed my mind, maybe, but it was one that I felt was toxic, definitely wagging my tongue, and something I didn't really want to do. And it was along the lines of this Christian apologist versus ortho bros shenanigans. But it was one. I'm a person with a lot of insight. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, it just so happens. I'm not anything special, but for whatever reason, I ended up in places, certain times that are significant, and I got some got to see behind the curtains in some places. So, especially with orthodoxy, and I wanted to address that because, well, I'm all but banned on every channel, on Orthodox channel included, like shadow ghosted, whatever you call it, shadow banned, ghosted, where they craftily silence me. Anyway, um, yeah, so I don't know what else to do. I am a person that does address things directly. I will speak to you personally. I've even spoken to the patriarch. Personally, believe it or not, what you call the EO, the ecumenical. Is it the EO? No, EO is what do you call it? Oh, you got EO is the Eastern Orthodoxy shenanigans that the Ortho Bros are putting out there, the commies. Yeah, no, what is it? What do they call them? Oh, EP, Ecumenical Patriarch, EP, whatever. They're them with the E's. Anyway, at any rate, the point is this: that as you can see, I've got a lot of reservations of doing this. What prompted me to do it is the shenanigans, but also the timing of what we're celebrating in the faith, which was the Pentecost and Holy Spirit, and now the apostles this weekend, and so on. You know, I thought it was timely for me to address some things, but yeah, just yesterday, I mean, thankfully I held off because the Crucible, the smoker, drunken guy, and which I had my reservations from the onset, but then started watching a couple of things because everybody kept talking about him and how he's misunderstood and this and that. So I watched a couple of his live streams or whatever, and he started to win me over. I can't lie. But as soon as he wins me over, he does this thing with D Wood yesterday. And well, yeah, I'm over it. So yeah, I mean they're all the same, evidently so. I'm still gonna, well, given I have time, I really won't have time anymore. But a couple of the influencers. One, he's a Protestant, focusing on racism. The other one is an Orthodox guy focusing on well, evolution and things like that. I mean, a range of things, but both of them, I feel they're quite flawed. But I feel that they're both generally doing their best to follow Christ the best that they can. And so for me, it's refreshing in this cesspool, the webnet. So yeah, but outside of that, I do plan on doing my own live streams. I was going to get into it, but my scheduling, I was going to do one a week, on Sundays, give or take. But I'm just not going to be able to do it this next couple of months. So you'll be seeing me again in September. I do have Imagine Reimagine still in the works. Shame on me for not getting that out there. Perfectionist. But at this point, I will do my best to get that out there within a week or two, um, wherever it may lay. There's some rough spots with the vocals still. The video is not the greatest, but yeah, let's get it done. Get it out there. Shame on me for not having that out there sooner. Um, and maybe I'll do a retouched, revised version in the future. But I've got so many things I want to cover. At any rate, that's it. But today, yeah, Juneteenth, Father's Day. Happy belated Juneteenth, I guess, or Happy Father's Day, if that even exists anymore. Why is it that Juneteenth completely supplanted Father's Day? Accidental, incidental? I don't think so. Given the context of things, the patterns, and so on, the evidence is overwhelming. It was by design. And the shame of it is that they've completely corrupted the black culture with this fatherless thing, with this broken home syndrome. But all of us, especially the United States, but that woman empowerment, man hating, anti Christian ideal, if you will, has infested the entire planet via mass media, whether it be the Jews who slash Freemasons who lost control of the golem which they created, or BRICS which is taking that over. Either way, it's a between the rock and a hard place for us. Again, the best thing to do is unplug. Yeah, so Juneteenth. I mean, let's get into it. I've got a presentation. This one's pretty saturated. It's all, factual based. Yeah, let's see. And I'm having some tech issues, of course. So there's different ways. I'm going to try sharing it this way. And I won't be able to see anybody's comments, but nobody's here anyway. So, but yeah, I really wanted to mark this up. So if it gets too frustrating where I can't explain things, I might try to do things a different way, which might not be as appealing. You know what? Let's make this bigger. Speaking of you guys seeing it better. Uno momento, por favor. Let's try this view. Okay, that's better. All right, let's get into this. Okay, so yeah, Juneteenth. What the hell is that? Do the people who even participate even know what that is? I mean, they know in their hearts what it is, and even vocalizing it these days. They're, it's hate whitey. But what is it supposed to be? What is it's alleged thing? I mean, looking at the banner on this float on their parade, where the hell that parade was. What's Junet? Juneteenth? June? What is that? Anybody? Is that some kind of secret message? And I know it's supposed to be like this African flag, apartheid colors, but doesn't it feel much more like a rainbow? I mean, look at the curvatures and all that. I mean, who are these people? Who are they serving? Why? Well, why? They're quite explicit these days because they're evil, because they're full of hate. They don't hide it any longer. And therefore, on every level, they're serving Satan, regardless if it's directly or not. Judge them by their fruits. What matters is outcomes. And here we are. But this is a thing that mass media has been pushing, whether it be 30 Rock or Hollywood, print for sure. It's a sentiment that's been propagated, something we've been inundated by, unsuspectingly, for generations now, for a century really. And I'm gonna prove that to you today, again with receipts. The big talk on socialist media and the internet, with some, is the Chicago. You never hear about Atlanta. Wonder why. Is that too on point? New York, for that matter. Good God, what is that? Well, now they are, with their Arab communist, the BRICS representative. But the New York mayor, New York City. Well, yeah, not enough has been said there. At any rate, yeah. Okay, so yeah, media is really doing its best, and again, undermining the father. What is that about? They're undermining the white Christian man. I've said time and again for years now, at this point, that their ultimate target is Jesus Christ, the ultimate white Christian man. And I understand some people are going to say he was from the Middle East, he was Hebrew, these kinds of things. At any rate, ask a black person whether or not he was white. Some of them, of course, will tell you he was black. Like Good Times episode from the 70s, Black Jesus. Look it up. What a horrendous. I mean, again, this is nothing new. We want to blame the Hebrew Israelites, but this kind of blasphemy, it's been pushed for a while. And again, I understand officially that the Jews created Hollywood and these things, but there's still evidently Masonic influence there. Again, I haven't to date. I have not looked into Kabbalah. I really don't know anything about it other than people saying there's a Kabbalah behind some of this stuff or all this. I don't know. I don't really care. It's plenty enough, as my father used to say. It's plenty enough to say the anti-Christians. Plenty enough. Yeah. Again, TV epics, Roots. I'm sure you heard of that one. Shaka Zulu, forgotten but quite influential back in the day. How the Africans with spears defeated the world. Sound familiar, by the way? Wakanda forever. And what is this? What is this right here? Is this an X? Is this I'm a dead man? And people running around saying Wakanda forever. Like, Lord have mercy. Get your lace. How stupid can they be? What comes on a pepperoni pizza? That's the kind of crap out of here from many of them growing up, being raised in the restaurant business. Lord have mercy. God gave you a brain. God gave you a brain. Quit Quit being stupid. Quit being complacent with being ignorant. For the love of God, have some self-respect. As Bill Cosby said, pull up your pants and get to work. Yeah? Is there really that much to ask? And I'm talking to the subculture here. And I know I'm going to sound libtarded, but we really need to keep in mind that this is not all black people. Okay? And black people, yeah, they are to be blamed because they are active in it, particularly the nigga subculture, which rap music, Hebrew spawn rap music, no less. We'll get into that too, proofs of that. They glamorize this thug culture. They glamorize it. They push it. To which end? It's quite evil all around. So again, I'm addressing two things at once. It sounds like I'm all over the place, and I kind of am. But I'm addressing Father's Day and Juneteenth, and why Juneteenth supplanted Father's Day. How, in essence, they're all the same. They're all serving one entity, Satan. And you can call me the church lady all you want, because mass media conditioned you to do that. But the evidence is overwhelming. And like I said, these days, they've been empowered, prompted, encouraged to be explicit about it, where they've weaponized their queers to start shooting, literally mass shooting Christians, just for the sake of, because they're Christian, because they're so open-minded and inclusive, and all these other diabolically split-tongued constructs. Right now in the movie theater, we've got Supergirl. It doesn't get much more asinine than that. And as you can see in the still, I mean, it's almost like a rainbow urinating on Superman. If you watch the recent Superman movie, the movie in itself was pro-Muhammad, anti-Christ in a nutshell. And I've covered that repeatedly. Look into my shorts, videos, what have you. But that's how the movie starts, as far as I get. I mean, enough of the abuse that I've suffered. American Society of Magical Negroes. That was a movie designed to piss everyone off, whites and blacks. Ace Ventura, White Devil, White Devil. Hell, I got to admit, I've used that line myself. I too am susceptible to this conditioning. Matter of fact, a couple of live streams ago, I actually used the word cooked. That cannibalistic term that they're pushing these days. Cooked. Best defense to this is unplug, because the brain is an organ. We're all susceptible to it, even if we're aware of it. Their science, their research shows it, and that's why they do it. Habitually, relentlessly drill the same point over and over and over and over again. Spend so much money, time, and resources. Sacrifice so much to brainwash us in those ways, because they know it works. And now here we are. All right, so yeah, fatherless homes, emasculated fathers, especially in the nigga subculture, right? I mean, look at, we'll get into that too, but to which end? And this plague has, again, through globalization, through the mass media, has devastated the entire planet. So why are they targeting the father? Sins of the father. They'll even use the old biblical sentiment to bastardize scripture, to be blasphemous, but to turn things upside down on their head. This is uncreation. To pervert scripture, to pervert the faith, is the ultimate victory for these Luciferians, these Satanists, servants of Satan. Whether they actually go to the Church of Satan in California or not, regardless, they're serving Satan. Judge them by their fruits. This woman empowerment. Women were empowered once upon a time, not that long ago. Woman was a mother. Woman was a wife, the backbone of the house. Now she's a whore at best. That's progress? Are you shiting me? She's got the value of a hole in the wall these days. That's a victory for you? Sorry, woman, but how stupid can you fucking be? You fell for that? Nah. You fell for that? And of course, they got their jobs. And of course, they still have to take care of children and home, just like the men were not forced to do. And of course, they were bitching and complaining still and blaming men, made to blame men for now all the things that they have to do. It's the man's fault. You get what you want, and you're still blaming someone else for having to pay the price to get what you want. Childish doesn't cover it. Again, you used to be women. You used to be women. What the hell are you now? OnlyFans harlots. What was that chick's name? Blue Balls? I mean, what the hell? And again, this goes way back. We'll get into how far back it goes with regards to mass media and its influence. But look at the top scene here, Trading Places, top right corner. That's a scene near the middle end of the movie where there's a social experiment. If you've not seen the movie, it's a cult classic, Christmas special, Kitty Leeson. You know, the American dream, being filthy rich, that's your goal. You know, love of money. Anyway, so they take this black con artist, a street thug, and they make him into a stockbroker. And they take their top stockbroker and they throw him into the slums, destroy his credibility, just to see if the stockbroker can still rise on top, whether it's genetics or environment. I'm sorry, it's both. FYI. Anyway, so yet another didactic shenanigans, nature versus nurture. And here we have a scene where he's sitting with some really important, it's not made clear, he's probably, I don't know, some producer, something. This character that comes out of nowhere and is sitting at the head of the table, so to speak, and everyone in the entire restaurant like freaks out about this guy says. And then when Eddie Murphy, at this point now he's a stockbroker, he's being empowered. I was like, oh look, he got some money, yay, kind of shenanigans. At this point, when he speaks to give him some advice, because now he's being asked for some advice by this mystery figure, it's a E.F. Hutton commercial. Everyone stops to listen. It's an E.F. Hutton commercial. I'm dating myself here. This back from the 80s, I think. And of course, the white bitch sitting next to him, the slut, the whore. And really, I mean, they really played up just how sleazy she is, like grabbing his leg and like, as you can see here, giving fellatio to a cherry. Listen. Well, that's not his date. That's not even a call girl, so you can impress. No, that's actually the big guys, the mystery man's girlfriend, sitting right next to Eddie Murphy, the black dude. And all but dry humping him right there at the dinner table. 1980s. But of course, this is the kind of life that Eddie Murphy had in real life and brags about it these days. Why do they do that? Well, one race. The Masons may or may not, if they're being secretive. But if they're being open about their agendas, they'll tell you they want one race. The mulatto race. Why do you think Europeans are being targeted? Not Russians, by the way. I find that interesting. Suddenly Russians are no longer white. Nor do they exist with the rhetoric of Asians. When you say Asian, we're not talking about Russia somehow. But they might include them in Europeans. That's interesting. Depending on who you talk to, the construct and the agenda. Oh, man. But yeah. So the big, powerful mystery man sitting at the head of the table, the entire time is being completely cucked by Eddie Murphy's character, a con artist, a slimy con artist that knows Shatola. Isn't that interesting? Okay. And of course, speaking of Arabs, we had the Muslim who allegedly, was born queer or trans or whatever what the hell they call it. Turns out he was born a boy. It turned out to be all BS. They were trying to shame everyone. How dare you call this flagella out for conning everyone? Arab beating up on women. How dare you? He was made a victim. Turns out people who are calling him out were correct. His lying father, well, he's a Muslim. Of course he's going to lie. Pulled out some fake documents. Turned out those were fake. Falsified. Did they end up in prison, by the way? That deserves some serious repercussions. What happened to that? Suddenly silence. Exposed, nothing. We hear nothing about the flagel anymore. All heck, bro. What about brace yourself? Have you ever heard of Pussy Riot? That's a Russian spawn thing. I was actually going to cover that again in the orthodoxy thing. They're butchering it. The Christian apologists. Again, I've got a schedule now for September, mid-September, around the elevation of Holy Cross, which is a day that's quite significant for me personally. I may or may not cover these things. I may or may not still do that live stream. I'm not sure. We'll give it a couple of months. And I won't have time to be following all this jazz, but it's a cesspool. They all need to be shaming themselves. The Ortho Bros, the Christian apologists. Are they really serving Christ? Tearing everyone away from God this way? It's disgusting. What are they really about? They're showing their true colors. None of them being forthright. None of them. All of them being crafty. And all of them love the money. Who are they serving? Let's get real for it. Who are they serving? Who are they serving? I've got two that I'm still planning on following because I like them. I think they're generally trying to do their best. But at this point, I trust no one. At this point, I've had enough. Anyway, tangent, but it's an important one. Yeah, I was talking about Pussy Riot. Look at the blasphemy here. Yeah, the feminists wearing a vagina on their head, everything about the vagina for a couple of decades now. It's disgusting, man. The trans movement, someone recently talked about how it's a rite of passage, what I was expected. Someone who was in the Freemasonry thing, I can't remember what it was. I may have shared it on my post. By the way, I may occasionally share a post. If you want to keep track of anything that I might want to contribute in this webnet cesspool, combat, expose, it might be through a post. Other than that, if I do manage to release Imagine, Reimagine, please share. Please share. I spent a lot of myself on that. Please share, even if you don't like it. It's a good message. Forgive me for asking, but yeah, so the trans thing, nothing new, going way back. And I'm going to show to you how it goes way back to the very beginning. Yep, way back to the very beginning. This pro-Baphomet culture trans stuff. Oh, and woman empowerment, don't mess with a voodoo chick. She'll put some juju on you. Doesn't get creepier, more menacing than that, does it? This is the movie Angel Heart. Also believe from the 80s, 90s, somewhere around there. Let's say 1990, give or take. I can't remember. It was the actress who played the eldest daughter on The Cosby Show. She did a season or two and disappeared from the show. and started doing a movie career at a very young age. She was probably still a teenager in this movie. I'm not sure. 19, maybe? I don't know. Give or take. Young, regardless. And she does a movie that's quite demonic. It's really difficult to watch. It's a bit of a cult classic in itself for those who watched it. I don't like it. I've watched it and it stands out. Uh, Scarred for life by it. It's a really erotic and extremely demonic. But yeah, here she's getting ready to sacrifice a chicken. Lord have mercy. And, to manipulate a man, of course. The white man. She's a, mulatto chick, mulatto actress. Yeah, alpha male, white alpha male. I think it was Mickey Rourke who played that role. Okay, let's see. Hollywood's war on manhood. I mean, they want to pretend that this is a 21st century thing. It's not a 21st century thing. The difference is now it's explicit and extremely aggressive, extremely explicit and obnoxiously do or die by design. Again, we've got media and political leaders telling queers to shoot Christians for being Christian because of their alleged victimhood. And I'm going to get into the victimhood thing in a few days, including my own personal experiences. Something that I've talked about in some other channels. I'm going to put it all out there. Tune in for that. I don't have the presentation completed yet. Hopefully, there's a lot to cover in that topic, but at the very least, you'll get powerful testimony, what some may call anecdotal. But yeah, fags, rape, and they need to be held accountable for that. It's the reason they get brutalized in prison, because, well, those that get scarred by those experiences, they end up criminals. Go figure. The kind of criminals that run around shooting Christians for being Christian because they're allegedly a victim. They're the ones that are victimizing each other. Figure that one out. And yeah, Catholic Church, I got it. Well, one, fags infiltrated the Catholic Church. Two, including Freemasons. Two, their peak, there was a bell curve in the 70s. And I'm not excusing this. I'm just saying, when you put it in context in relation to the rest of the world, what's going on, everything around them, they were right there with what everyone else was doing. That doesn't excuse it. I'm just saying, don't be a fucking hypocrite. If you're going to point your fingers at the Catholics, you better not be a queer or a rapist or something like that. Yeah, there's a good idea. And usually it's the hypocrites that are getting loud about the Catholics. At any rate, yeah, God have mercy on their souls too. I'm talking about both, the Catholics and the hypocrites. God have mercy on us all. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you can see here. Just here, I've got just a meme that I put on Gab a few years ago. This is just television shows, and it's just the drop in the bucket off the top of my head. We've got news media that is queer galore. This elf-looking chick in the middle on the top, wearing the blue plaid, looks disgusting. Like, I call her Pig Vomit from the character Pig Vomit from Private Parts, Howard Stern, because she looks like that guy Pig Vomit. Disgusting. They're always plastering her ugly face. And when you see a younger picture of her, she's got longer hair. She actually is attractive. She goes out of her way to be vomiting, nauseously ugly, fugly. She works hard to be as nauseating as she possibly can, just by appearance, just by eye contact. She makes you want to vomit, and she's proud of it. Proud of it. RuPaul, Lord have mercy. Has he been investigated yet for his faggotry? Anyone know? It's way past time. Way past time. I mean, the list goes on. All the way back to 1970. Bosom Buddies? Ever heard of that one? Remember that one, guys? Guess who was in that, by the way? Bosom Buddies. Tom Hanks, speaking of Catholic who married a Greek actress, I'm put Greek on there, Hollywood chick, Hollywood princess. I don't know if you call her Greek. And it was since, well, his production company was involved with a big fat Greek wedding, really playing himself. I've met the priest who baptized Tom Hanks. Was potting himself off as Greek since. You know how offensive that is? Not only to Greeks, but to Orthodox. Of course, Greeks are both. On both levels, it's extremely offensive. I'm sure designed. No doubt he was doing his best to be offensive. But it's Tom Hanks. He got away with it for about a decade. And now we know he's the pedo Freemason that he is. A Hollywood producer, in a nutshell, in essence. That's all needs to be said there. But he's the one that's being, called out because, well, is he Hebrew? I know there's two Steins got busted. One of them got scot-free. The other one, there's a mystery what actually happened to him. Who else? Polanski, still on the lam, living it up in Poland. Who else you got that's been held accountable? Nobody. Not a single one. Lord have mercy. Still to this day, people are scared to say the names. Not only zero accountability, negative accountability. Oh. But he's a great director. Applauding him at their Masonic award ceremonies. Lord have mercy. Even this queer, I forget his name, in the 70s. I mean, the fact that there's a little kid on set that's cozying up to him like that. The Odd Couple. He was a star from The Odd Couple. His name escapes me right now. Again, this is not my regular hours. My brain's not functioning properly, but you'll forgive me for not being able to remember him. But at any rate, he's yesterday's news anyway. He was quite popular back then, especially because of the TV show Odd Couple. But yeah, he played a queer in that show. Queer eye for the straight guy. Them are fighting words. But no, it was made super uber popular, especially by all disgusting, hoary white chicks. What the fuck is wrong with people, man? Why repent when you can drag everyone else into your miserable life? Fox without his tail. Misery loves company. Why repent when just everyone else can be miserable too? Brilliant! Nah. I mean, again, the list goes on and on. And this is just queer-ass folk. It doesn't get more. Wow. Queer weddings. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And they want to pretend, well, this is something new. And they're somehow oppressed. Huh. I mean, how many Christians do you have that were saying nothing, crickets, about all this vileness for decades, generations, but they're oppressed? You mean the ones that are running out right now shooting Christians for being Christian, who's saying nothing, never mind doing anything? They're the ones that are oppressed? It doesn't get more diabolically backward. Uncreation. They are servants of Satan. Evidently so. Bob's Burgers. Does it get much more masculine than that? How about Homer Simpson? Does it get much more masculine? Based on his character? What about Al here? The Honeymooners? The idiot, the comic relief. How many male lead characters in Hollywood and TV shows were comic relief? Including Mr. Jackie Gleason here, who died an early death, overdosing on booze. And bragging, I'm going to die early. because he was so, happy with life, with all his fame, with all his money. He was so happy, because he was living the American dream. You cannot serve two masters. D. Wood. What's the other guy? Andrew. You cannot serve two masters. What's the traitor? What's his name? AP. Cannot serve two masters. G. Those people evidently have chosen money. Filthy lucre. Evidently. Yeah, they do some good things. So do Muslims. Muslims say some right things too. They do some good things too. Muslims are nice. What about Satanists? You have Satanists that were in a church choir who were on the weekends getting together to rape and mutilate little boys and then cut off their privates and put them in a jar in their rooms. They were nice. They were doing good things. They're in the church choir. Judge them by their fruits. The African Queen. Wow. This gets much more Masonic than that. We're talking about Humphrey Bogart. He was the alpha male back in the day. Though you watch his stuff now, you can hear the lips, the isp. And of course, the evil bitch. She played the lead role in that. The African Queen. And even though she was the whole time she was upstaging this guy, even in a point where the boat that they're in on this river in Africa, and the African Queen was the name of the boat, from what I remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, a couple of years maybe. But yeah, basically the rudder freezes up, locks up, and he goes down. Now he's underwater. He doesn't have any equipment. He doesn't have, but he can't, with this alpha male, this Hollywood star. He can't budge the rotor. So he goes up and he's like, we're stuck. I can't get it going. And she goes, well, let me do it. She jumps into the water and she's holding her breath and she's moving it. She's the one that unfreezes. I mean, come on, man. This is 1951. And it's not the only one. Not the only one. I've showed you time and again where Miss Marvel wasn't the first female hero, going way back to mid-20th century and earlier, really. This is absolute emasculation. The Hollywood star, the alpha male of the time, being undermined, embarrassed in that way by the evil bitch herself. And want to see Mommy Dearest, based on a true story. Of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger, right side middle. I forget the actresses. She was really a supermodel, which she was ugly as hell. I never could quite figure that one out. Look at her. What the fuck? How do you make that a supermodel? Well, this was the 80s, 90s, somewhere around there, give or take. Yeah. This is what they were doing back then. And this is a scene not from the movie. This was this Conan the Destroyer, the sequel to Conan the Barbarian, where she's basically uber aggressive, uber masculine, right, with her toothpick, as a character calls it. The barbarian character, Conan the Barbarian, calls her weapon a toothpick. But this scene is actually when the cameras aren't rolling and they're having fun. And this is the Arnold, the mayor of California, the ex-mayor of California, the Arnold, getting manhandled by this freak and laughing about it, having a good time. Emasculated much? I mean, in the movie too. He's got to get rescued, but yeah. At least that movie and those movies, there were some movies they've still kept the integrity of the alpha male to some degree. Rambo comes to mind. Sylvester Stallone. Rocky. He did Sylvester Stallone again. Rocky. I mean, from what I heard, he was adamant that would not be compromised. Adamant. Good for him. The Squaw Man, 1914. We watched that together. YouBoob recently took that down. 1914. It's public domain. Why is YouBoob removing my comment after, I don't know, months, over a year of it having no issue? Suddenly now? Is it because of the things that we discussed? How, well, you see here a man holding a kid, emasculating. But the kid is reaching out for the woman instead. Common scene, by the way. But in the movie, what it is this man, well, he's a kidnapper, basically. And the woman is the hero. And the squaws, of course, are the victims when we know the Native American Indians were the ones that were actually kidnapping, including little children, slave driving, including each other before the Europeans got there, but including afterwards, and even stealing black slaves, but also, of course, whites, amongst massacring them and so on, stealing from them, yada, yada. But, the Squaw Man, 1914, this Jewish production, is pushing that. Lasky, produced by Lasky, directed by, was it Cecil B. DeMille? I believe so. Either way, it was a Paramount, in essence, production. Full feature. And that's not the only one. But again, this is one we reviewed. I believe the Squaw Man, our watch party is still up on Rumble. I hope. I'm not sure. I haven't logged into Rumble. I don't know. It's been over a year now. I don't know what's going on over there. But yeah, I mean, the list goes on. You got these liberals, lifelong liberals, being now rightards like Donald Trump, the Donald, Mr. Project Warp Speed. You got all these internet and TV celebrities that were libtards and now allegedly conservative, whatever that's supposed to mean, that are promoting Andrew Tate, who promoted what is now a household name, as I suspected, thanks to the Christian apologists that wouldn't shut up about that platform. Now I'm going to say it before I refuse to say the name. OnlyFans. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone knows it. Just like what was the other thing? To catch a pedo. I forgot what the show was called. They made that other platform popular. I forgot what that was called. So now, MySpace, I think it was called. And by the way, Andrew Tate, no, he did not find it that platform. It was a Jew in England. It's OnlyFans was created by a Jew. Of course, people. Come on. All right. Speaking of cunts, I'm the first hero, Miss Marvel. Manhandling, choking a guy, a man. Now imagine that Miss Marvel was the actual Captain Marvel, a man grabbing a woman like that and swinging him around and throwing him into other women. What would the reaction of mass media be of that? But here's now, beat up the man, man-hating. There's nothing, it's not empowerment, it's man-hating. What about our romantic little, the most romantic, it won all the awards, a ton of awards, I say, Titanic, of, well, he's willing to freeze himself to death, even though there's space on a platform or other platforms or whatever. It was so romantic. He died. She loves him. She watched him freeze to death. That was the most romantic thing he come up with. We've got Captain America: New World Order was the original title of that movie, by the way. The last Captain America movie, with the Red Hulk that was supposed to represent Donald Trump, their trope, their Trojan horse. We've got an Israeli chick playing Sabra, which was actually an Israeli character in the comic books, Israel character. She had like missiles shooting out of her fingers. And just, the King of David flag all over her. That was her uniform. Anyways, they got the shortest, most weakest, petite-looking character, and she's a bit disformed too. The actress, I mean, to play this role where she rescues the new Captain America, Captain Falcon of the New World Order, and this other male character escapes me. But anyways, she rescues them by herself, beating up an entire squad of armed grown men single-handedly. It doesn't get much more retarded than this, much more man-hating than this. And this is, again, by design. What about if BRICS takes over? If the Jews or the Freemasons, whatever, no longer, if they lose control of their golem, their mass media golem they created, and BRICS takes over, like they have been for the past few decades now, since the late 20th century. K-pop demon hunters out of South Korea. You know, South Korea, they're our friends. They're running around killing men who are demons. You know, the empowered chicks. You hear this music, this trash, all over the place. But what about, I hate to admit, I kind of like this character, or this person, I should say, Mr. Double Rainbow. You remember him? He went viral a decade ago. Oh, he was crying because he saw two rainbows together. A few years later, he died from an overdose. Go figure. Turned out he was queer too. Go figure. This was the viral male. I mean, the internet, mass media, video gaming, it's all the same. Let's get into a touch of politics, just a hint. Just a hint. United Nations, they've been exposed. The guys from Cross-Crescent Discussion Group and some others did a good job of exposing the United Nations, and they're being terrorists. They're supporting Islam and all that. You know, so the anti-white, anti-European sentiment is not, again, by accident, and it comes from every direction, whether it's the Jews who will get pissed off you call them white, whether it's the Muslims, whether it's the Orientals, whether it's Brazilians, the South Americans, the Africans for show, Native American Indians. It's all hate for white people, the Europeans, namely. The Russians somehow, these days, with that dichotomy of Ukraine, Russia, which I don't understand why the right supports an invasion of Ukraine. Anyway, so yeah, you look into a decade ago, I think it was a 2012 UN Global Initiative. It had like a list of about 10 things, give or take. And I did a report on that. I looked for it, people. For some reason, I can't find it. I can't find it. And it's really bugging me because it was a good little presentation. I think I had one of my external hard drives get destroyed recently in this last move. And I think it got lost in that. I usually do backups. I put it on the cloud. I can't find it. It's bugging me a lot. Anyway, but yeah, from what I remember, and forgive me, trust me on this, industrialization, when it came to those UN global initiatives, and I'm talking about Africa here, their goal was to industrialize Africa. Cool? Well, not really. It's a bit exploitation. I mean, when we talk about the Chinese, at least some of us talk about the Chinese and what they're doing all over the world, including Africa. Well, you can see here, even they're buying up the ports. Like the U.S. ports are also bought by foreign interests. So that's not anything different. At the time, the UN nation's leader was Ban Ki-moon, South Korea. I know that's not Chinese, enemies of China, but as again, Japan, are they really our allies? I want to say our U.S., but by extension, Europe. And their goal, these global initiatives, was to pay Africans. They were proud of this. They had this on their website. They're going to pay Africans at least $1 per day. It was $1.36 or something like that. $1 per day was their agenda, their goal. Yes, we're going to help by the Africans by paying them $1 a day. That's the UN goal back then, a decade ago. No, inflation didn't go that much. Where $1 a day, but it was explained to me by a professor who had looked into this that $1 in Africa could buy a lot of grain and all that. So for them, it was a lot of money. Lord have mercy. You're still giving birth on dirt in the 21st century. And the other couple of goals, 2 or 3 goals, were dedicated to sending women to university, destroying the home, globalizing. Again, JuneTeenth on Father's Day. What has fatherless homes led to? Well, what we're suffering in the 21st century, all this anarchy. Yeah, and of course, there was a clean water. I think there was like one line of cleaning the water. But now we can see clean water is doublespeak for the green agenda. Clean energy. Not that they don't need it, but there's an agenda there for sure. And yeah, I mean, this whole dialectics thing, the rhetoric, what we used to call politically correct. I still hear that sometimes now. Now it's called dialectics. Doublespeak from 1984, George Orwell, Eric Blair. I call it split-tongued. This meme that I put up on Gab, on the middle left there. Why do they keep racially profiling me? I can't do a hillbilly accent too well. Forgive me. Why do they feel it's just fine to call me redneck, hillbilly, white trash, honky, hick? I mean, yeah. How is that where people make millions? These black comedians get paid millions to call white people redneck. Never mind, it's okay. Never mind empowered. I mean, it's way beyond that. What is this with this racist, fascist, hypocritical rhetoric, and why is it not being addressed? Why doesn't anyone have any balls? Even in the year 2026, people are scared to speak the truth. What is that? You might lose your likes. You might lose your sponsorship. Lord have mercy. If we can't rebuke the evil, if we can't say what it is, what are we doing? What are you scared of? Hell? I mean, it's hell on earth right now. It's only getting worse. Speak up. Get active. And again, another meme that I shared, and I shared this with a university program, a bunch of educators. It was me and 30 other women. I was the only man. So you can imagine a university, 30 female teachers, and I'm sharing this slide about diversity and the melting pot phenomena, where the first slide shows traditional cultures actually diverse. The second image, a coarse demographic, again, the one race, one gender, Masonic ideal. And we're all suffering these days. The alleged inclusiveness, as long as you're not white or Christian or a man, an actual man. And the globalism, the show solidarity with Islam, where we're all become brown people, worshiping Allah, Baphomet. What's the real diversity there? What's the real diversity? Where's the real inclusion? Where's the real respect, love for others? It's in the traditional cultures, but that's no longer allowed. Unless we're talking about paganism, like Islam, like Buddhism, like Hinduism, so on. That's promoted. But even Judaic tradition, not allowed. Tradition. Fiddle on the roof, anyone? Certainly not Christian tradition. So the ethics are out the window. And again, I've recently watched a video with his victims talking about what happened back in the 1960s, 50 years ago. And it's like, man, the way they describe it, absolute freaking horror. I don't like the guy anymore after listening to them. But I got to, being full disclosure, I got to say that with a grain of salt. I know some people get offended by this, but yeah, I know actresses. And some of the stuff that they're saying and how they're saying it, as I was watching and listening, a bit suspect. At any rate, as an adult, when you go get drunk with a man, you go to his hotel room. I mean, especially in the 60s where Mickey's was the thing, the talk. I mean, I know because growing up, everyone was warning me, you go to a party, you keep your drink next to you, you put your hands on it, you cover it up. You don't let anyone near your drink. It became part of the culture, this Mickey thing. And I'm not blaming the victims, but what am I saying here? Bill Cosby, even though he was a libtard, even though he did black exploitation from films, black exploitation, I don't know how to say it. You know, pushing that trope of the ghetto pimp daddy. Him and Sidney Poitier that worked together on a few films with those tropes, promoting that trope back then. Before he did that, his first movie was actually Man and Boy, I think it was called. I think this was like 60s, late 60s, early 70s. I think it was a 60s film, his first film. And it's about a free slave and his young boy going out to the West to homestead and the troubles that they faced. After that, as we know, he did The Cosby Show in the 80s. To this day, I say The Cosby Show, and it's like a breath of fresh air. We all loved it. All of us. And we loved him for it. He was hated on by black comedians that were, well, Eddie Murphy, fuck shit, get pussy over. Filth of comedians, of performers. Hated Cosby because his act was so clean. They hated him, loathed him. Why? Because he was clean and successful. So, when he does the big speech, including at his alma mater, by the way, he gave the same speech at a university, telling his own people that they need to have some integrity. Get yourself cleaned up. If you're walking around with your pants down, pull them up. Have some self-respect. He became public enemy number one. Am I lying? Am I lying? Those of you that are old enough that remember that, put yourself back in that time. What happened when he said the speech, when he told black people to have integrity? The exact opposite of what everyone else was pushing at the time. Yo, 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 pow, pow, pow. Right? He said, no, man. Have some love, at least for yourself. Isn't that what Jesus says? Love your neighbor as you love yourself, where all the law hangs on. He became public enemy number one. And lo and behold, he was suddenly being accused of some ugly older women of sexual harassment. Turned out they were false, got thrown out. So what did they do? Go back 50 years later to some Mickeys. Statute of limitations out the window. They lied to him. They promised that, well, you know what? If you fess up, we'll let you go. Put him in prison, made him an example. To this day, that's all you hear about. And again, when I hear the testimony of his victims back then, this guy, if it went down the way they describe, yeah, this guy deserves to get his ass kicked. But that's not what happened. They didn't put him in prison for that. They put him in prison for speaking up. They put him in prison for saying, hey, you know what? Stop the evil. That's why they did that. Why they broke the law to make an example of him and got away with it. See, I can't even say what I'm saying right now without being hated on. I know. UFC, mixed martial arts, completely sold out. I mean, it was started by a BRICS agency anyway, by a Brazilian, Grace, who was a cheater. Roy Gracie, cheater. But then it sold out to Dana White. Slimeball, recently doing nothing but pushing Islam. Slimeball. Boxing. Is one of his fighters went up against Mayweather. This Irish guy, well known. He did some weird things. This was a few years ago. I can't remember, maybe 5 years ago, when this boxing match took place. I watched the boxing match. I mean, this was like basically the great white hype versus the great black hype. I've never watched a Mayweather fight before. But if he fights like he did in that match, I mean, look at the middle right slide there. He literally, the entire fight, round after round after round, he was turning around like a pussy, turning around like a wimp, and rubbing his butt on the Irish guy's crotch the entire time so he can't take a shot at him. Meanwhile, the Irish guy was getting yelled at for doing mixed martial arts moves, which was not the case. You can see that it was Mayweather that was taking shots at him, at his neck, pushing on him, pushing him down, doing all kinds of things, not getting reprimanded. Meanwhile, despite all these things going on, the Irish guy was still knocking the snot out of Mayweather, literally, in the early rounds. By the 8th round, after getting dry humped, butt on his crotch the entire time, and punching nothing but guard and getting penalized for it, he got tired. And that's when Mayweather starts punching. This is a sham. I know I went off on a tangent there, but not really. I'm demonstrating how white people, including or especially this guy, I mean, it doesn't get much more whiter than Irish, maybe Scandinavian. Outside of Scandinavian, it doesn't get much more whiter than Irish. The Irish are the billboard of white. They put this guy, the successful UFC fighter, up there against Mayweather in order to deflate, to undermine the white spirit. And they've been doing this for generations. For generations. Not to mention in this way. You got this uber cocky, pardon the pun, Irish guy, right? They're scrappers. Who's getting dry humped in a faggoty way by Mayweather for 8 rounds. It doesn't get much more emasculating, embarrassing than that. Anyway, TV shows. I've talked about this before in other live streams. I presented this. And then again, this is TV shows off the top of my head. They talk about how blacks are oppressed. And again, we'll talk about Hollywood in a minute. But TV shows, okay? Look at this list of shows that will not only only had a black lead, but it was all black. All black. Look at this long list. You telling me they were oppressed? Who's oppressing them? The Jews? The Freemasons of 30 Rock in Hollywood? Who? Quite on the contrary. Not only are they giving them opportunity, they're putting them on a pedestal. Laugh track, anyone? You watch that crap now, there's not a damn thing that's funny about it. If you're lucky, you might get 1, maybe 2 laughs, maybe. Not a damn thing. Take away the laugh track, lame as hell. Not only were they given opportunities, they were glamorized for a reason. 1 race, 1 gender. 1970s. Look at this. All black. The Jeffersons, Different Strokes, Good Times, Sanford and Son, That's My Mama. What's Happening? Some of these were my childhood favorites. And that's not all of them. Again, this is off the top of my list. Okay? Other shows with at least one leading supporting black character. All in the Family, Welcome Back, Kotter, WKRP in Cincinnati. Again, off the top of my head, this is not all of them. 80s, all black. Benson, Give Me a Break, The Cosby Show, Amen. 227, What's Happening Now, A Different World. At least one black lead or supporting character. Night Court, Facts of Life, Webster. Again, top of my head. This is not all of them. 1990s, all black. Who gets blacker? Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Martin, Rock, The Wayne Brothers, Living Color, Moesha, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, Living Single, Malcolm and Eddie, Sister, Steve Harvey Show, The Jamie Foxx Show, The Sinbad Show. And that's off the top of my head. It's not all of them. All black. And lead or supporting characters. Arliss, Dream On. Again, off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more. No doubt. And these are, by the way, sitcoms. These are not other kinds of movies like action movies and so on. We're only looking at sitcoms here. Only sitcoms. Look at this list. Oppressed? Kitty Lason. 2000s. Everybody Hates Chris. Girlfriends. Half and Half. The Parkers. All of Us. 1-on-1. It gets lamer, doesn't it, by the way? How lame are these shows? My Wife and Kids. That's So Raven. Heard of her? She got into some controversy, which she reneged on recently. For standing her ground and say, hey, I'm not African American. What the hell are you talking about? And she was hated on for that. For stating facts, like Cosby. Even though she was on the Oprah show to talk about how queer she is. Giddy Layson. That's I already said it. The Tracy Morgan Show. The Hewleys. And again, that's not all of them. 2010s. The Game. House Pain. Meet the Browns. All right, you get it. It goes on and on and on. And you're like, well, that's the 70s. What about before? Well, what about before? The Ethel Waters Show. Ever heard of her? Of course not. She's before your time. She's before your time. We're talking the 50s here. Early 50s. What about Julia? Julia went on for several seasons, which is a success story. Most don't even get past the pilot. What is that about? It's about a single mom, if it's the 60s, single mom who's humiliating white males, her boss, and other white men that they periodically put in their show for, to be a punching bag. Got to be single, got to be fatherless, though, right? The very first episode, it's you can watch it for free online. The very first episode opens up with her telling her little son, who wakes up in the morning and checks on her, wakes up, she goes, "You're my little man. You're my little man." Writing, directing, acting, editing. So much time and resources on that line. The Beulah Show. The Beulah Show. We're talking 1940s, people. Not only was she the lead, it was named after her. The same thing with the Ethel Waters Show. Named after her. But we're going back to the 1940s. We're talking TV land. When did TV land come about? Yeah, Hollywood came up before that. There were TVs that existed a decade, maybe so. But who was broadcasting anything? Nobody, because nobody had TVs. TVs didn't become a mainstay until the 1950s. So before the golden age of television, the 1950s, where everyone had one television set in their home and bragged about it, because it was like their car, their one car. We had Hattie McDaniel playing Beulah, the original Mel Carter. Ethel Waters, a variety show. Well, back then they had a lot of variety shows. That was a thing in the golden age. They were oppressed. And again, Julia was the Richard Pryor Show, Mr. Filthy Mouth himself. giving us moral, ethical lessons, lessons on ethics. Richard Pryor, his own show, teaching us ethics. Imagine that crap. I tried to watch a couple episodes, couldn't get through it. Boring as hell. But they're oppressed. Oh, well, they're oppressed. Well, music. Allegedly, black people invented music. That's the rhetoric these days. History class, these history teachers, educators, professors will tell you they invented music. Lord have mercy. Oh, by the way, the Byzantines, a much later label, on the West, were the first to invent music. Written music was Byzantine hymnology. Then came Gregorian chant. And then some centuries later, opera. You ever heard of people in Africa singing opera? Operettas? Anything? Anyway, yeah. This Jewish spawn thug culture, the nigga culture, has infested the entire planet. I had a video that I wanted to share. I couldn't find it. It came up as an advertisement kind of thing on YouTube. It was actually Greek rappers wearing Armani suits on a basketball court, in their suits playing basketball, doing rap. Malakis. Wow. Lord have mercy. That's embarrassing. But I got to put that out there. Just how bad this thug, this Hebrew spawn, Freemason spawn too, I'm sure. I have no evidence of that. Just a hunch at this point, given the trajectory, the evidence. Let's take a look at it, huh? I mean, yeah. What else needs to be said when you got Orientals? Oh my God! You got to be kidding me! Oh, in the hoodie, the Oriental wearing the red hoodie. I know it's supposed to be gray hoodie, right? Gray hoodie. Remember that? No, it's red because, well, the Orientals, the Chinese particularly, well, they love red because they're communists, but they also love red because that's their pagan culture. Their pagan culture, red. So they're either way, they're infatuated with the color red. That's why he's wearing a red hoodie, not a gray one. What about this thug? Again, that's what I come up with. I was looking for the suits, the Greek guys and rappers. This got this heathen. But yeah, comment, right? It's all about the love of money. This culture, this rap culture, this thug culture, this nigga culture. It's all about the rap money. What about MC Hammer, Mr. Born Again Christian himself? You can't touch this. He revolutionized dancing in baggy pants. Everyone was wearing baggy pants after him. Fantastic. Next thing was baggy pants lowered down past your butt like a prison fag. Tupac. Lord have mercy. How pathetic is that? Well, we'll get into him in a little bit. There's one contribution, Dear Mama. I mean, I liked it when I first listened to it, but then I thought, I'm like, what the I fell for it. This guy is glamorizing his crack whore mother. Why am I promoting that? Why am I liking that? What am I, an idiot? Easy. I'm easy. Easily influenced. Gullible. Ludicrous. Well, his chosen stage name says it all. But move, bitch. Get out the way. Get out the way, bitch. Get out the. Remember that one? It's still popular in some circles. They still use it, the essence of it. How about this one? I mean, Ice Baby. He's handling his business. Vanilla Ice. This white rapper from Oklahoma, wherever he was from. Kansas, I don't remember. How about this one? All over the place. Baby's got back. Yeah, big butts. Thanks a lot, Sir Mix-a-Lot. Oh, speaking of Jews and making rap popular, this is going way back. I think this was the 80s too. Yep, 80s. You gotta fight for your right to party. Fight to party. Sound familiar? 21st century, anyone? Dumpster burner? Dumpster fire? Loot? Gotta fight for your right to party. Even Dr. Lloyd DeYoung was singing this one. I did a presentation, brought it up. He didn't like the fact that I said they were Jewish, though. He doesn't like facts. What is he, a Mossad agent? Scumbag. Snoop Dogg doesn't get slimy in this. Talk about drug pushing. Talk about drug. Buddy of Barack Hussein Obama, the divorcee. Girls Gone Wild. Oh, more mainstream. Hip hop. Rapper hip hop. Mama said knock you out. Wow. Okay, well, 21st century. What's going on? Well, his mama said knock us out. So there you go. You know, I'm going to knock you out now, Whitey. What about fuck police? Yo, yo, yo. When I first went to Greece back in 2015, I saw fuck the police spray painted on university walls. Like, what the fuck? Wow. Okay. Global plague. Spawned by the Jews. Music, I can't say it's Freemasons. I have no evidence of that. I have no idea. Hunch may not be. Either way, Jews, bad enough. Anti-Christians. And the world has gone down the crapper. No pun intended. Sports. We can't talk about that unless you get treated like Jimmy the Greek. But was he not right? Was he not right? Bred to be athletic. I mean, and what's the irony? The ironic part is how the libtards who push nothing but evolution, adaptation, genetics, get mad at the idea that you say, well, blacks are athletic. You can't say blacks are athletic without being called a racist these days. The fuck? But yeah, oppressed. Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Jordan, or whatever freak they got these days. The Greek freak. Don't get me started on that. Sosa. I mean, Carson and the NHL. Dominating sports. Millions. Fame galore. But they're oppressed, people. They're oppressed, people. You got Orientals going while they're being racist towards blacks, calling them nigger, by the way. But they're oppressed. Look at this oppression. Where's the father figures in these cocksmokers, by the way? You see any father figures here? Where are the father figures? Where is the father? A different world. Where's the father figure in that political Bill Cosby corrupted offshoot? Or any of them? The Beulah Show? All right. Going back, okay. I mean, I only watched a few episodes. That's all I got access to. The Ethel Waters Show? Honestly, I haven't watched it. I only know of it. The Richard Pryor Show? Okay, he was teaching ethics, I guess, as a weird magical hobo. Definitely not Julia. Definitely not there. The Jeffersons, who was belittled by everyone. He was a good father. Different strokes. Mixed family much. Good times. A father that was never present. Sanford and Son, butt of all jokes. Red Fox. We'll get into him in a minute too, but not in detail. But he's an interesting character. Let's talk about Filthy Mouth. Who inspired Richard Pryor? Filthy Mouth. Who inspired Eddie Murphy? Filthy Mouth. But let's arrest Bill Cosby at the age of 70 for something he did 50 years ago. Because, he said black people should have integrity. That's my mama. Surely a father figure. I mean, is there a pattern here, people? Is this a conspiracy theory or am I showing you proof? Is the writing on the wall for you? How many people would watch this yet still deny the evidence, the overwhelming evidence? Okay, Hollywood. Queer as hell from the start. Queer as hell. Is it any coincidence that Jews that completely ditched their own scripture, the Septuagint, and centuries after they massacred their Messiah, came up with idolizing King David? Again, not idolizing Abraham or Moses or anybody, any of the prophets or anything. No, King David, the whoremonger. Again, at least the Christians, the Orthodox, the Greeks, at least we say his Psalms of repentance. What do the Jews do? Go to war all the time? Be anti-Christian? Be filthy scum? Judge them by their fruits. Queer as hell. They're sucking off in their, rabbinic tradition. They're sucking off bloody baby penises. That's demonic. Of course they're going to spawn queers. You got babies being sucked off by adult men that are bloody, and you got little kids watching that. You got adults watching that. You're the baby yourself. Maybe, I don't know if you're suffering trauma at that age. Could be. But surely the little kids and adults are being affected by this. Now we're talking about centuries upon centuries later, millennia later. Were they queer before? What were they chastised, rebuked for doing? For graven images, for their pagan behavior. Everyone wants to point fingers at the Greeks and only the Greeks. Interesting. Especially the Christian apologists. Interesting. What do you know? Oh, Lord have mercy. And the Russians, the Orthobros. Those scumbags too. God have mercy on their soul. Especially Jediah, that ringleader. There's nothing Orthodox about Orthobros, FY. They're quite convert. And actually, and I've talked about this before. And I may talk about it in mid-September for the ascension or the rising of the Holy Cross. We'll see. 2 months is a long time these days. A lot will happen. So we'll see. Anyway, yeah, vaudeville. Going back to the 19th century. Vaudeville, minstrel, burlesque, all degeneracy. Who was spawning that? Who was exploiting freaks? People that were born with deformities. A person that is missing half his body. Made all kinds of bank off of this guy. A bearded lady? Good God. The fat man? The short guy, the dwarf? My heart bleeds for these people. Now they may argue, hey, at least we're getting paid. At least we're being able to survive, being exploited. They're being put on stage to be mocked. The sword swallowing man? Does it get much more queer than that, by the way? Bearded lady again? Trans much? What about this one? Glenn or Glenda. Guess when that was spawned? What about the jazz singer? The very first, this is credited for being the very first, musical, audio, musical movie. I think 1929. 1929. Oh, Disney. Let's not overlook that freak. Ferdinand the Bull, a trans bull. He doesn't get much more masculine than the bull in the animal world. He chose a bull to make him queer, to make him gay. Disney. We're talking about, this is like a 1930s film. Early Disney. Has been around for very long. And this is what he's making. Look into it. There's your proof. A woman, Charlie Chaplin, silent film. Charlie Chaplin, United artist. Birth of a Nation. Speaking of racism, Birth of a Nation. These are Freemasons. A Freemason produced it. A Freemason popularized it. Boston Publishing. And these two, Charlie Chaplin and D.W. Griffith, created United Artists, a production company that gave or empowered actors and actresses. How did that turn out? The Dixon Experimental Sound Film, 1895. A short with two men dancing. Look at them. The two men dancing. 1895. Does it get much more Jewy than this? Oh, what about same-sex kissing? Sexual back then. Again, Paramount. Cecil B. DeMille. Ooh, you're a Christian hero, Cecil B. DeMille, the Jew. Nah. Manslaughter. Manslaughter, it's in the name. Morocco with Gary Cooper, another alpha male back in the day. Lesbian scene. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Lesbians, oh, that's okay. Nah. Does it get much more pagan than that? Much more Jewy than that? Not only did they exploit freaks, they created freaks and they normalized it. Now, on your top right, you've got a picture that I took. These are two comic book artists. They did a collaboration. I don't remember what it's called. It's some kind of mainstream modern comic with a bunch of children acting weird. Now, this picture that I took, I saw these two fags sitting together, and something came over me. I don't usually do this. I don't usually take pictures of fags I don't know. But I was like, man, I got to take the picture, not out of spite, just out of niceness. Why was I doing that? Did I have a queer moment? No. I'm now looking back at it, it was a moment that was important. Why? Because this is a comic book convention, by the way. I believe it was the same one that I did my pitch to Frank Miller. That was in 2018. I created my comic book 2017, so I'm not sure. Give or take around there. Almost a decade ago, essentially. So I'm sitting, sitting these two guys. I'm like, okay, the light bulb goes on. Like, okay, these guys are queer. Just the way they're sitting together is fairly obvious. They weren't smooching, thank God. I've been scarred enough. But yeah. Anyway, for whatever reason, I was compelled to take their picture, and then I go to a workshop being led by the guy on the right. He does a spiel, okay, whatever, blah 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 blah, and at the end, he goes, it's been really difficult growing up as me. We don't have any queer film where people are being romantic. I perked up. He looks right at me, and I'm sitting way in the back. His eyes going ding because he knows I took his picture with his fag buddy, and I'm going to say something right now. And just like that, he cuts off the cameras and gets up. And that was it. That was the end of the workshop. Doesn't let me speak because of what these fags do. They don't let you speak. They don't want the truth. Again, no queerdom? No queerdom in Hollywood? No queerdom in media? Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? But this is the bullshit they started pushing a decade ago. In their own circles, but then publicly. Cramming it down our throats like the rapists they are, whether we like it or not. God have mercy on the sodomites. Puh, I spit on Satan. These people need to be corrected stat. Stat. Men, grow some balls and speak up. Women, shut your fucking mouths. Raise boys to be men. Otherwise, shut your mouth. Lord have mercy. Enough's enough. These people have destroyed humanity. And if you're part of the problem, you need to repent stat. At least for your own sake. If you don't care about anybody else. Let's talk about the recent He-Man movie. Might still be in movie theaters in some places. Supergirl sure ain't getting it done. Toy Story 5 is doing better than Supergirl. Lord have mercy. Destroying it. Opening weekend. 5. Toy Story 4 sucked. Toy Story 3, 5, and it's destroying Supergirl. Nah. Anyway, yeah, you know the movie where they promote by pissing on Superman in the opening credits and in the advertisements. All right, let's get into Masters of the Universe 2026. So yeah, I mean, the top right, you see a scene in the opening credits of the opening dialogue monologue, where they're referring to Castle Grayskull as the center of all creation, with the universe in this demonic skull representing Castle Grayskull. Huh. That always bothered me about, even as a kid, I'm watching He-Man, the cartoon, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why are they making this demonic looking thing the protagonist? And a female wimpy looking sorceress as the all powerful thing that does nothing throughout the cartoon. As the most powerful entity. Well, now we know. Grassroots movement. Grassroots movement. Man hating and, well, pro paganism. Pro paganism. Not to mention Orko. Always hate, character always freaked me out with a weird, squeaky feminine voice. Was a male, faggoty, almost pinkish. Looks like a penis, let's be real. A penis with a condom, because, safe sex. It's not okay to wait. That was in the closing credits. A little throwback to the cartoon, is what they did back in the cartoon. They had this little freak give us the lesson on ethics. This little freak of a character. This demonic sorcerer witch thing was going to teach us ethics. That's how they did the grassroots movements back a few decades ago. Oh, and in the movie, He-Man, completely emasculated, by the way. On the right, second from the top, you see a picture of a Hawaiian guy, Pacific Islander, maybe, I don't know, with wearing 2 earrings. You can't see it that well. He's wearing 2 earrings. Clearly queer. Clearly queer. That's his roommate. Just as well. It always bothered me, even at a young age, that He-Man, talk about pushing pronouns back then, He-Man, okay, was wearing a pink shirt, something that they did for most of the movie, too. He's running around with his pink He-Man shirt with a white undershirt. Completely gay. Except here, they made it baggy. Yo, 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 yo. Can't touch this. All right. Left corner. Well, paying homage? Not really. The original He-Man movie, which was total crap, Dolph Lundgren, he did a cameo, basically to say, yeah, he's old, he's male, get out of here. And he completely made fun of him the entire time. Oh, well, I've got a lesson to teach you. And he says something as, And then, of course, the new He-Man, the pink wearing, extremely emasculated character, mocks him. Okay. By the way, in the original cartoon, Adam, which was He-Man in his real persona before he transformed into He-Man, he was Adam, Prince Adam. He was completely buff and talking and all that. Here he's like, hey, it's just complete destruction of the male character. His father, well, right in the middle, you see him being portrayed as a standard Hollywood trope of evil father, evil white man, evil white father, abusive, right? He's not drunken. Now, this is where it gets kind of funny and ironic, but not so much because that's what Hollywood has been doing. Satanic, Hebrew, anti-Christian, Masonic Hollywood has actually made this trope of the degenerate black man. And that's man at arms, who they ethnically cleanse to make black and mulatto. His daughter is supposed to be ginger. Tira, from what I remember. Ginger. Doesn't get much whiter than ginger. But of course, they ethnically cleansed her too and made her mulatto. And that's in the panel and third to the top on the right, going down. You can see him in the middle, lying down on the ground like a hobo, man at arms, completely emasculated, and he's a drunkard. He's got no wife. So, and that's his mulatto daughter, supposed to be saving him, taking care of him, and basically essentially emasculating him. And his He-Man on the right, looking goofy, wearing his pink shirt. Does it get much more emasculating than this? And this is what was released during Father's Day, JuneTeenth. Making a black man pathetic drunkard? Where's BLM on this one? On the left, his look, the flowers, the girl servants, basically emasculating her son. Of course, she's the one that's strong. She's the one that's firm in this movie. She survives. Spoiler alert, father doesn't survive. He gets emasculated from the very beginning and dies later in the movie, a prisoner. But she survives. And she's teaching him lessons, definitely not to be a man. Oh, look who comes. He's bottom left. Second from the bottom, the third from the top on the left. You see some Sasquatch-looking creature. That's Beast Man. One of the first characters they came up with was Beast Man. You can see Beast Man is like 4 times Tira's size. Tira's size. And Adam, Prince Adam, of course, is wimpy, being emasculated. So she comes to the rescue. And she starts throwing this beast man, this monster, around like he's nothing. Okay. Of course, she's running away. She's picking up Prince Adam and rescuing him, running away with him. But yeah, I mean, come on, man. Can you at least make it semi-realistic? It's bad enough that they're as evil as they are with all this vile uncreation propaganda. But can you at least try to be entertaining? The bottom left corner, you can't see it well, but the prison guard is actually, again, an Arab-looking, little tiny woman that's pushing Prince Adam around. She comes in because she was bullying him when he was a little boy. And he's like, oh, remember when a little boy, you were bullying me? She's like, yeah, pushes him into the prison thing. And then later she's made like some kind of superhero when she's got no powers, or like you see on the next picture over, the whole group walking out of the vagina, and she's on the far left as a hero. Huh? Because she's got a vagina? She's Arab? Brown, whatever she is. Come on, man. Come on. It's getting more fucking lamer than this shit. And what kills me is I know these producers and so on, these Masonic demons, watching this, watching us get upset and enjoying it, getting a laugh out of it, because that's what they want. They want to instigate these reactions from us. Bottom middle. Okay, that's Terry. You can't see her because man at arms is in front of her, stretching back. She's leading the laugh. Right next to her, looks like man at arms, is that Arab chick. They made her a man at arms, a dyke. Right next to her, in the middle, Fisto. And the innuendo in this movie, throughout the freaking movie, man. It is PG-13, so, but you know, little kids are watching this shit. God have mercy on the soul. Speaking of innuendo, Mattel needs to be investigated. A lot of these things always bothered me when I was young, for obvious reasons. The one next to him, red and blue, is Mecha Neck. His power is a robotic neck that stretches, and he can see far away. It looks like a penis. Looks like E.T. Fisto? Ram Man? At least, you know, we had a bulldozer Ram Man, and we can get away with that. Speaking of ethnic cleansing, they made him Oriental. And then the thing on the left is a robot. A made robot that refused to do any made things. She power. And then after was reprogrammed to be the war robot that it was designed to be by Man at Arms, was threatening him. He's like, okay, sure. Okay. Oh, man. And of course, in the bottom right, in the closing credit scene, you've got Evelyn, who's mocking the now dead, spoiler alert, Skeletor, who's also emasculated in the movie repeatedly, by the way. Even though everyone feared him, he was also emasculated, and he treated Evelyn in one scene like the evil man that he was. Lord have mercy. Okay, but let's look at some powerhouses. I mean, again, I already showed you how far back this stuff goes. From the very beginning, and then we're talking about the Dixon experiment. Doesn't get much more revelation of the method than that title. But that's before Hollywood. We're talking about decades before Hollywood. An entire generation before Hollywood, they were queer. They were pushing that stuff. Mr. Mom, a classic from 80s or 90s, somewhere around there. Role reversal. It's become the new norm. For me to say something now, I'm hated on. I'm called a bigot and sexist and misogynist, Malis and Malikias. The woman king. Again, what they usually do, distort history, lie about it, falsify it, make white black and black white, literally. I wouldn't say this was a game changer, but in essence, you see of it, this is the standard. I mean, even in the Thor movie, where they made Valkyrie the next Odin by calling her King Valkyrie. Not Queen Valkyrie, King Valkyrie of Asgard. Her, King Valkyrie. She was dykish, by the way. They had a cutout scene where Thor misread her rapport with him. So he made her in advance, and she like scoffed at him. He's like, oh, emasculated. King Valkyrie. Anyway, I mean, it goes on and on and on. These are not the only examples, of course. Anyone still denying this stuff, You're evil. You're not stupid, you're evil. Period. 9 to 5, another blockbuster, epic, where it wasn't enough where the women are in the workforce, but they've got to completely emasculate their bad, evil white boss, the man, Uberman, and do all kinds of criminal activity and get away with it. They got away with it. They became more powerful and rich for their criminal behavior. 9 to 5, a major influential film. Decades later, here we are. Here we are. What about the 40-year-old virgin? Anyone ever talk about living in your parents' basement? A virgin? Where did that come from? So everyone is not being some kind of Andrew Tate is a 40-year-old virgin. Hell, when I was 40, still single, I would have been proud of being a virgin, frankly. I know that's like, wow, how can you say that? Well, there's something wrong with them. Well, being 40 and single, that's where it starts with something being wrong with me. But that's the modern thing, isn't it? Well, I guess I'll get a pet bird, a cat, a dog or something. Speaking of faggoty. Brokeback Mountain. Again, just like An Officer and a Gentleman. Remember that? An Officer and a Gentleman? That title always got me. Anyway, that classic where Lou Gossett Jr., I forget his name, famous actor back then. He does a famous line with the supporting role actor. Forgot his name. He was from Texas or Oklahoma. And the line this drill sergeant says is, "Where you from, son? Boy," whatever. I think it says Oklahoma. I'm from Oklahoma. Either way, Roper or Sooner. He's one from whether it's Texas or Oklahoma. Either way, masculine, alpha male. Either way. I'm from Oklahoma. I think it was Oklahoma. I'm from Oklahoma. Two things come out of Oklahoma, boy. Steers and queers. Which one are you? I don't see any horns on you, boy. So you must be a queer. So that was a famous line from An Officer and a Gentleman. Piece of shit film in retrospect. But I loved it back then. Didn't know any better. I was getting my moral values from trash like that from Hollywood and 30 Rock and the Jew music industry. Brokeback Mountain, around the turn of the century, completely destroyed the ideal of cowboy, the construct, the schema was now rewritten. Because now, if that one line from An Officer and Gentleman didn't do it, Brokeback Mountain did. Now everyone thinks of fag when they think of cowboy because of this horrendous uncreation piece of shit. There's some slime love. Let's play a little game. I got a couple of games, a few slides each. The first one is called Chivalry or Cuckery. You be the judge. Again, judge them by their fruits. The ultimate target here is Jesus Christ, the ultimate white Christian man. I've shown you time and again that this is not incidental. It is by design. So let's play a game. You tell me, chivalry or cuckery? If you're in chat, and if you have been in chat and I haven't seen your comments, I apologize again. At this hour, I don't expect to have anybody watching, but I don't have the tech available to second screen, so I can't keep track of both. My apologies. But we're almost done with this presentation. All right, so Sir Walter Raleigh, who in grade school, in literature and so on, we're told how noble he was for taking off his coat and putting it on a puddle of mud so that Queen Elizabeth I can walk on it. What do you think? Chivalry or cuckery? Back then, I couldn't figure out. Back then, I was all an absolute mass media money, a product of mass media of Hollywood. But even back then, I'm like, what the fuck kind of stupid shit is this? What a retard. First of all, what a retard. I mean, if this were a Greek woman, if Queen Elizabeth were Greek, a real woman, if she were a real woman, she would have yelled at the guy for being such a fucking idiot for putting his coat in the mud. Hey, moron, I could just walk around. What are you doing? But it's chivalrous. Well, you know my opinion. What's your opinion? Chivalry or cuckery? I already mentioned it. Epic scene. Award-winning. Freezes to death. You know, she loves him. But here's the premise of the movie, this award winner that so many, especially women, loved. Especially women. Hollywood award winner. This chick on the bottom left goes on this luxurious steamliner. And again, this is based on a true story. And she's with this rich man that she doesn't really like. She's just going to marry him because he's rich. What a whore. But anyway, they're on this Titanic ship, on his luxury cruise liner. And she has an affair with some lowlife, some beggar, some younger kid. And her mother is a little upset because, you know, well, she wants the money. But she's like, yeah, but I'm in love. I like the way he makes me feel. And so the rich guy is now a cuck. And so what happens when this big ship crashes into the iceberg and everyone's scrambling to get off? Dude in charge on your right, well, he completely blows off the poor victimized cuck. The rich guy, the rich white man, the evil one, you know, because he's rich. He's white. And he's a man. Therefore, he must be evil, according to Jews and Freemasons and the rest of the vermin. Well, instead of taking care of his needs, you know, life rats and all that, he addresses the hoe, the scandalous one, the one who's chewing this guy up and spitting him out. So you tell me, is that chivalry or cuckery? Titanic, chivalry or cuckery? You be the judge. Put it in the comments section. Love to hear what you have to say. Oh, talk about a classic. I mean, this story's been done over and over and over again, so many different ways, on and on and on, nonstop, in every different format. Print, stage, movies, shows, radio, you name it. They've done it over and over and over again. Now, here's a story where it's two families that don't get along. We all know the story, of course. We've heard it time and again. And they're in love. They're attracted to each other. You know, this puppy love, this romantic love. And so they can live happily ever after, even though the families don't get along. Again, Western social science tells you that's a bad idea, by the way. FYI, it's not just Christianity. Tradition that warns you about that. Anyway, so there's a faking of a suicide here so they can be together. And, well, he doesn't know it. So what does he do? Right? What does he do? Is that romantic? Is that chivalry? Or is that cuckery? And talk about pushing suicide, by the way. Romanticizing that. What's the agenda there, by the way? To me, this is extreme cuckery. Romantic. It doesn't get much more stupid and, well, questionable than this. Oh, James Gunn. He's been in a lot of blah, 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 especially online lately. Here's an earlier picture of him. You can see what a goof he was. Bag. Yeah, he's the one that is responsible for Supergirl right now in movie theaters. You know, the dog pissing on Superman movie, so on. Well, he married Jennifer Holland a few years ago. This was a matchmaker situation. Jennifer Holland before that, she did a couple of movies, nothing to write home about. No major roles. She did some TV, nothing. But her career was pretty much dead. And lo and behold, James Gunn comes in the picture. And James Gunn writes and produces Brightburn for her, a movie that's quite freaky. Speaking of father and lack thereof, this movie is quite messed up. It's a superhero movie, if you will, but not quite. It's more of a horror film where the protagonist is actually the antagonist. Modern film, the modern standard, 21st century standard. And that was his production for her sake. And then, of course, the Suicide Squad, where they came up with the character Amelia Harcourt. Harcourt. You can see the movies she did before that, Zombie Stripper. Anyway, I know that you may have not heard of that. Surprise, surprise. She did an appearance in American Pie sequel, straight to VHS, if I'm not mistaken, where she's, as you can see, the bottom right scene, she's quite raunchy. So here's James Gunn, who is attracted to a big screen whore. Okay, I mean, it's standard Hollywood. That's what they do. Oh, bottom left corner, he's wearing a muzzle. The only one in this cast, in this picture, that's wearing a muzzle. This is on a TV show they recently did. Recently. We're talking about, was that a year ago? Oh, in this TV series, that's his wife on over his right shoulder there, Jennifer Holland, who, yeah, put her in the Guardians of the Galaxy, Shazam, Superman. In this series, he's like totally having erotic sex with Cena. I think I did I got away with somehow of putting up a static image on one of my posts. Like, what the fuck? So this guy, as Gary of Neurotic will tell you, and this is how this got on my radar. Otherwise, I wouldn't give two shits. Excuse my language. This guy loves to be a cook. Loves to watch his wife do the nasty with other men, others on screen. And his flagella behavior, that's a murmur. You do your own research on that. But I mean, just look at the guy. Let's get real. Very, very suspect behavior here. You tell me, this Hollywood director, producer, scumbag. Chivalry? Because, he's giving his wife a job. No pun intended. Or cuckery. With evidence galore. For millions to observe. Oh, some of you not going to like this one. Jerry Falwell Jr. But not bad enough Senior did his thing. Now we got Junior doing his thing. Or should I say his wife? For those of you who don't know, bottom left corner, sorry, we've got his wife and the pool boy. Does it get much more cliche than this? God have mercy. I'm sorry I'm laughing. This is just so bad, so cheesy. It's hilarious. But, I mean, this is all over. The evidence is all over. She admits it publicly. They get chased off for other behaviors, other sex scandals, by the way, that he's involved with, she's involved with. They get chased off from their own university, inherited from their father, their own little Protestant cesspool. He stands by her. Wonder why that is. Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm so sick of these people, man. I'm literally getting physically sick right now. But you tell me, am I being judgmental? Am I being judgmental? Maybe I shouldn't judge by their fruits. Maybe I shouldn't rebuke evil. Because, you know, those people who say that are greater than God, greater than Jesus Christ. But you be the judge. Chivalry or cuckery? Pathetic. Let's play a different game. Negro or nigras? How they say in the South. Or if you're a rap artist, nigga. Oh, they say nigga. Excuse me. Nigga. No hard R. Nigga. Either way. Should we do Negro or nigga? I think it's better to say Negro or nigras. All right? Negro or nigras? You be the judge. Negro, black skin, but not thug culture. Or all about the thug culture. All about being a nigga. You be the judge. Judge them by the fruits. Good daddy, bad daddy. Judge them by the fruits. Good daddy, bad daddy. Judge them by the fruits. Good daddy, bad. Oh, God forbid. Well, dad doesn't have a chance to be a daddy there. Cucked doesn't have a chance to be a daddy there. Dead doesn't have a chance to be a daddy there. Sir Walter Raleigh. What a joke. So you be the judge. Negro or negras? Tupac. Again, Dear Mama. Used to be one of my favorites. I'm embarrassed to admit. Until I woke up. Until I started doing deep research into Hollywood. It was embarrassed, shocked what I was discovering. Because I thought if I went back to early Hollywood, black and whites, I could take a break. Boy, was I in for a rude awakening. That's what it's been. It's been one rude awakening after another. Now it's just pure abuse. When I subject myself to their vileness, to their productions, it's nothing but self-abuse for me, just for the record. That's why you get what you get. You're witnessing a lifetime reaction to a lifetime of torture, of subjugation, of belittlement, of terror, being terrorized. Lifetime of it. Victimized, either directly or by extension. Victimized. All right, Tupac, aka Machiavelli. Cool. Nothing suspect there. He's a political activist. Calls himself Machiavelli. Racist agitator. Of course. You don't believe me? Well, let's take a look. Judge them by their fruits. June 1992. Promotes Ice-T, Ice Cube's Cop Killer. Don't worry. It's just music. August 22nd, 1992. Discharges firearm at his concert. No harm, no foul. What if that were you? Discharging a firearm at a concert. August 22nd, 1992. Wait a minute, sorry. April 5th, 1993. Assaults rapper C-Wen. I don't know who that is. Who gives a shit? Well, you know. What if I assaulted a rapper? It'd be all over it, all media. Never mind an arrest. October 31st, 1993. Shoots two cops. Well, it's just music. Remember Cop Killer? It's just music. Pow, pow, pow. Fuck the police. It's just music. Niggers with attitudes. Oh, just music. NWA, by the way. That's what it means. Niggers with attitudes. Oh, Lord have mercy. Jew spawned, Jew produced music, by the way, no less. Wonder what agenda they have. November 1993, sodomy gang rape. Him and a couple of his buddies sodomize a chick. Get away with it. 1993, eventually get away with it. Yeah. 1993, illegal assault rifle. Ever heard of that before? Yeah, he's got an automatic weapon. I don't know if it was an AK-47. I mean, AR, what is it? AR something or what? But it was a rifle. And well, he was already charged with a illegal firearm. He couldn't have this. So it was a double offense by this time. Again, 1993, attacked Alan Hughes on film set. He was given an opportunity. He doesn't like what is being told. He beats up Alan Hughes. Can you get much more retarded than that? Well, he's white, so he must have deserved it. White. And of course, he's a victim after that because he was cut out of the film. Of course, he's a victim. Yeah, because they don't like black people. That's got nothing to do with what Bill Cosby said. Pull your pants up and act like you have some self-respect, therefore respect for others. Like Jesus commanded. No, nothing to do with that. No. He's a victim, because of skin tone. Lord have mercy. Oh, 1993, illegal sex tape, confiscated. It's for real. Recording someone he's having sex with without their consent. 1994, what a slam ball, right? 1994, semi-automatic pistol, not to be confused with the previous assault rifle or the illegal weapon that he had before. There's a handgun before that. Third offense, semi-automatic pistol. Finally gets arrested. November 1994, robbed by Sean P. Diddy Combs and Notorious Big. This is according to him. Maybe it was a false accusation, but this is what he claimed, that they were behind it. At gunpoint, by the way. He got shot, too. Survived. So he was the original 50 Cent, I guess? Lord have mercy. Idiots. God have mercy my soul for being like this right now. 1995, settled for shooting 6-year-old. Oh. He's not white, therefore it's not all over the media. We're not hearing about it years, decades afterward. Because he's white. He's Tupac. It's okay to shoot a 6-year-old. Kaid Walker Taib. Great parenting that a 6-year-old had, by the way. Put him in that position of being with. Nah, malakis. No love, no respect even for yourselves. You make me sick. Poor kid. Maybe survived a bunch of violence in his life. Kaid Walker, fuck off. Scumbags, idiots. God have mercy on you. Got your kid killed. You fucking morons. Nah, malakis. April 4th, 1996, imprisoned for violating release terms. Given a chance. I'm going to give you a release. Just do this. Fuck you, Whitey. Fuck you, the man. Where's Tupac? You can get away with it. 1995. Who shot ya? Okay, that's the Notorious Big and their music production versus his Hit 'Em Up in response. So they're going back and forth with rap music. They're going to kill each other. Nobody gets arrested, because they're black. The rappers, they're being made as idols for everyone to imitate worldwide, regardless of this, worldwide. Shoot 'em up, worldwide. Pow, pow, pow. Disgusting. It's beyond insane. It's beyond stupid. Pure fucking evil. Pure evil. It's been insane. Well, caught up with them. Live by the sword, die by the sword. September 7th, 1996, Tupac shot in a drive-by. It's almost comical. Tragic. I started liking him. I watched Poetic Justice. I'm embarrassed to admit I actually liked him. Started liking him because of the movie. Mass media money. Victim. I bought this stuff. Lifetime. Most of my life. Completely bought into all the jazz. Hook, line, and sinker. I'll be honest. I don't know pretty much none of this until I did research on it. For this presentation. None of this. Why? Because it gets buried. Let's go to the next one. Let's get playing this game. Negro or Negress? You be the judge. Judge them by their fruits. Malcolm X. They did a movie about him. Denzel Washington. At least Spike Lee shed some light on this. Born Malcolm Little, he became who gives a shit? Grade school delinquent. Any surprise there? Expelled from school. Any surprise there? Later in life, still in his youth, he was a thief. And this led to juvenile detention. Any surprise there? His mother was an institutionalized psycho. Any surprise there? I mean, a little surprise. I mean, I don't think that's a standard where your mother's crazy. But then thinking about Tupac and Dear Mama, his crack whore mother, psychosis, degeneracy, tomato. His father, Earl, was a Baptist minister. Oh, well, he's Baptist, and therefore got some good ethics. This is what happens when you deviate from tradition. FYI. You know, the thing that media hates, and many of you hate because media told you to hate it, tradition. This is the fruits of deviating from the Christian faith tradition. His father was allegedly murdered, and I have to throw in allegedly, by Black Legion. I thought Whitey did it. No, Black Legion. And the surprise was there. Even though all of the claims that Malcolm X had about being impressed by Whitey, his father was murdered by black people, black organization. Okay, cool. His neighborhood, black people, victimized, had a rougher upbringing. He was raised around whites too, black people. Back then, I'm sure there was a lot of whites, not to excuse the actual rednecks, because I've suffered that myself as a Greek immigrant. They're quite disgusting, to be frank. But let's get real. He was a drug dealer as a young adult, a gambler. He was into racketeering, extorting, robbery, of course, pimping. I hate to say, of course. Oh, Lord have mercy. In other words, human trafficking. You know, because it's Whitey's fault. You know, slavery, remember? That's what Malcolm X was about. He's talking about slavery, though he was a pimp. Biographer Bruce Perry, I'm getting specific here, just so you can have receipts. Biographer Bruce Perry reports Malcolm X occasionally had sex with other men, usually for money. He was a whore himself, a sodomite, a queer whore. Any surprise there? Well, he fits right in with Islam because, well, oh, Red Fox, remember him? I mentioned him. He comes up a lot with these degenerates for some reason. Red Fox does. You ever watch any of his stand-up routines, by the way? You think Richard Pryor has a filthy mouth? How was Red Fox getting away with what he was saying on stage back then? Where things were supposed to be more censored, more traditional, more Victorian. You know, maybe because he was black, or maybe because Watch one of his stand-ups. You'll see what I'm saying. His old stand-ups when he was younger. You can find the video online. I've watched it. Even as an adult, I was cringing the entire time. And you know I got filthy mouth. This guy's sick. So stands to the reason he was buddy-buddy with the likes of Malcolm X, so on. And of course, yeah, like I said, it leads to Islam. He becomes a terrorist, public racist propagandist, given all kinds of platforms so he can spout his toxic. Of course, because that was what they did. These Jews and these Freemasons, especially at the mid 20th century. Yeah, he was killed. Live by Islam, die by Islam. He was murdered by the Nation of Islam for denouncing them, for breaking off because they're evil and creating his own evil black racist organization. But they're like, no, you're not going to talk smack about us. You're not going to be an apostate. We're going to kill you. You tell me. You be the judge. Judge them by the fruits. Negro or Negress? All right. My favorite. Step and Fetch It. And I've talked about this before. I did a watch party with a movie with Will Rogers and Step and Fetch It. Judge Priest. There was another reboot a couple decades later. We watched the original. So he was born, check this out. At least his parents had some character. He was adopted, by the way, allegedly adopted, but regardless, they had some character. They gave him a bunch of names. Lincoln Theodore Monroe, Andrew Perry. Cool. But later in life, he decided to go with a stage name, Step and Fetch It. Step and Fetch It. So you would think Step and Fetch It. He's talking about, being a slave, yo, 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 yo. Well, kind of, yeah, that too. That too, evidently so. We'll get to that. But really, check this out. Check this out. He got that name, the idea for the name, because he was gambling at a racetrack, degenerate, and a horse that won, that he bet on, was called Step and Fetch It. The light went off. Oh, I can make some money off of this Yasser trope, this Yasser character. Some black people are familiar with that and what that means. But it's basically black people pretending to be, humble and all that while they're spitting in your drink and sticking a knife in you and mocking you and doing all kinds of wild things. The Yasser character, the Yasser trope. He made money off of promoting that trope. A lot of money. He had a lot of firsts because, blacks are oppressed. Early 20th century, by the way. A lot of firsts. First on-screen black romance. First all-black cast. First millionaire actor by their standards. He didn't actually hit $1 million, but early 20th century, what he made was the equivalent of multimillionaire. His parents emigrated from Jamaica and the Bahamas. He was born in the Key West, luxurious life, and again may have been adopted to live in Alabama. Okay, some issues there. Issues, no doubt. He was adopted, broken home. We got some problems. He joined the carnival as a runaway at age 12. Definitely some problems. Became a vaudevillian at age 20. Oof, oof, oof. So he became a degenerate, making money off of degenerate performances. And then he signed with Hal Roach. And this is going into his movie career. Early on in his movie career, Hal Roach signed him for the Our Gang series, The Little Rascals. And he was kicked off after like an episode or two for unknown reasons. Wonder what that could be. Hated by some blacks for being a coon, a house nigger, or for portrayal of the black culture, right? The whole Yasser character. A lot of blacks said that was a betrayal of who they were. In his personal life, he was divorced repeatedly because he was abusive toward his wives. Liked the white women, liked to beat up on them too. He was jailed for not paying child support. He went bankrupt, even though being a multimillionaire. That's what a lot of them do. He must have been, pouring the Dom Perignon to show off, pouring it on the ground. For his homies. And after all that, he became Muslim. Wow. These Muslims, they know how to recruit, don't they? Good gravy. Yeah, fit right in, no doubt. So his bastard son, from an illegitimate relationship, was involved in a murder-suicide, a mass shooting in 1969. What was going on back in the 60s? The hate whitey movement, the Black Power movement. He killed 4. This is the New Jersey Turnpike shooting of 1969. Look it up. He killed 4, injured 15 with an illegal machine gun. Not even a semi-automatic. This guy had a full-on war weapon. Oh, he's hanging out with the Muslims. What else is he going to have in 1969? His name was Donald Martin Lambright. Right? He was born Perry, but he changed his name to Lambright. He had daddy issues, of course. And he was a political science major. Went to university to study political science. And a Black Power activist. Shooting up some white people. And there's a turnpike. Nothing to see here, folks. Ever heard of him? Of course not. Of course not. So you tell me, judging by their fruits, Negro or niggers? Next. Tyler Perry. Oof. This one, again, goes into both. Daddy issues and black culture, queerdom, Pride Month. He had an abusive, illegitimate father. He was a high school dropout. We seen a pattern here, people? Seen a pattern here, anyone? He was mentally disturbed and suicidal as a young adult, probably earlier, but as a young adult, according to him, came out of his own mouth. He also himself gave birth to a bastard with Galila Bekele. So, okay, someone he had an affair with. This guy can't be married. He's friends with Meghan and Harry. You guys heard of Meghan and Harry, right? The royalty or not royalty? What's going on there? Will Smith, another piece of trash, and Janet Jackson. Any wardrobe issues there? July 20th, 2009, sponsored 65 children in Philadelphia day camp to visit Walt Disney World. If it were anybody else, I'd be like, okay, nice, that's nice. But given the context, Walt Disney World too? His sexual offenses, he's a Hollywood producer, include Derek Dixon, you can't make this stuff up, Braxton Wells, and Mario Rodriguez most recently. He made a fortune via direct-to-video trans character, Medea. The one on the far left or top right, either way. That's the character he made all his multi-millions with. Is it billionaire? Well, I don't know what his net. I should look up his net worth. My apologies. Probably easy to find online. But enough money where he opened up the largest sound studio, movie production studio on the East Coast in Atlanta. You asked me which is the most racist city in the United States? Atlanta. But take advantage of some cheap labor too, of course. Anyway, this is standard behavior. I had to throw him in here because having a lot of influence right now is quite significant. And you can see who he is. It's not a problem. It's a standard problem in Hollywood here. The only difference is that he's not Jewish, that I know of. So you tell me, Negro or Negros? Next. My favorite. My other favorite. Oprah Winfrey. Talk about emasculating men, destroying homes for generations now. Has her own channel, her own. She's one of the richest people in the world, male or female. 3 billion, according to Forbes. Maybe that's stated. I'm not sure. 3 billion is their worth according to Forbes. She was named after Oprah, the rabbinic mythology, Book of Ruth. Great parents, interesting, intriguing, isn't it? Makes you wonder how she was empowered so much. College dropout, another dropout. She was Miss Black Teen from Tennessee. Miss Black America, okay. 1976, she had a Baltimore show. Baltimore, another racist city. Good God. I had a best friend there, and now I'm questioning whether he was a best friend. Whole story there. I'm going to get into that in a few days. Owe you a rainbow thing. I'm going to get into this whole sodomy thing in a few days on Sunday of all days, but that's the only time other than, it's really the only time I have. Really should be pulling out my weeds in my yard, but anyway, whatever. But I'm going to cover that. I'm going to cover these things in more detail. I feel like I owe you that before I disappear for a couple of months. Again, if you want to keep up with what's going on, keep track of my posts. She beat out Phil Donahue in 1986. Phil Donahue was the big name back then. But Phil Donahue was a legit psychologist. She posed as a psychologist, and then when we found out, it came out that she wasn't. She had no freaking clue what she was saying. Well, no big deal. It's Oprah Winfrey's black. Okay, who cares? She went to Chicago, AM Chicago, by the way, before that. They gave her a whole show, because she's oppressed. 3 shows now. She's oppressed. Doesn't even have any credentials. No fucking credentials. She's doing a talk show like she's some kind of fucking expert on sociology. Wow. DOYYY. Phil Donahue, probably never heard of him. Harpo Productions. Oprah spelled backward. And own. She's oppressed. 1996, she launched the Oprah's Book Club, where if anyone, for a while, for a couple of decades at least, wanted to be successful, they wanted to be part of her book club. Her parents were divorced. Her sister was put up for adoption by her mother. Broken home. Again, pattern here, dropout, broken home. Hates whitey. Hates men. She was reported of being a prostitute. Had weight issues, drug use. This is from her biography, a teenage prostitute. Again, man-hating. The Lance Armstrong thing, the way she subjugates her guests too. Again, her back and forth with Raven Simone. When Raven Simone, who was on her show to talk about push dyketry, or what do you want to call it? So what she got on her for saying, hey, you know what, I'm not African American. Doy, of course she's not African American. She's black. Get over it. Even hating who you are, your identity, and playing this political dialectic bullshit. You can't even say what you mean anymore. African American means you directly came from Africa and now you're in America for some time. You use citizenship, lived there for a while, and now therefore you're African American. Or your parents are from Africa. You were born in America, still African American. Short of that, if your grandparents are from Africa, but your parents aren't and you ain't African American. And dozen generations later, you sure as hell ain't African American. Get over it. African American idiots. Anyway, she ripped into the girl, and now the dyke just recently reneged. It's like, oh, well, yeah, okay, well, this is really what I meant. Shut up, bitch. Scumbag. They all make me sick. Raven Simone, by the way, is from The Cosby Show, a later edition. Go figure. Oh, and of course, she's promoting cult members, pedo cult members. Something about the Epstein files. She's been, I don't know. She's got her own cult, her own religion, buddy with Tyler Perry, of course. Barack Hussein Obama giving her some kind of Masonic medallion. You tell me, Negro or Negras? Well, she was in the color purple. What was the character like there? Beating up on a man, remember that? Negro or Negras? Got an award for that, too. So let's get into the little scriptural thing here in theology. And then I'm not going to get too deep into that. But this misinterpretation of calling a man your father, whether it means rabbi or not, and all that, look up. I encourage you to look up off the Orthodox sources on this, especially ones that are Greek, that can actually tell you what the language is. There's a good idea. I don't know. That's what I would do. I'll go to the source. Anyway, yeah, but there's a big war on tradition, on fatherhood, on the home, on ethics, on Christianity, including by the Jews. Again, do not confuse Hebrews, the Old Covenant, with the Jews you have today, these anti-Christian pagans, in essence, but anti-Christians nonetheless. You want to accept pagan? You better be honest and say they're anti-Christian. You better be honest. Stop lying loose to yourself. And this other misinterpretation, this misuse, this abuse of neither Jew nor Greek. Whispering Jew and emphasizing Greek. God have mercy, so I'll go to hell sooner or later. Those that do that. FYI. Titus 1. Beware those that destroy homes for filthy lucre's sake, especially those of the circumcision. Whether it be Andrew, whether it be Dickwood, any of them, all of them at this point, they all are evidently the same. And they're all guilty of the charge in Titus 1 of choosing money over Christ, the way. How many of the Protestants denounce God's law? It doesn't say these two things wipe out all the law because I've come to destroy the law. And even in your mistranslations and your agendas, it doesn't even say that. It says all the law hangs upon these two things. Night and day difference. But people are running, oh, you don't need the law. What? Jesus Christ himself quotes most of these laws. Who in the hell are you? And then you call yourselves Christians? And then some of you calling yourselves Christian apologists? Going on about that? God have mercy souls. The end result is what we're suffering these days. This modernism, this nihilism, this anti-Christian essence. Calling all of you to repent, to honor your mother and father, to love God with all your being, and to love your neighbor regardless as you love yourself. Some self-respect. Pull up the pants. Be a woman, a real woman, a mother, a wife that's proud of taking care of her husband because her husband is taking care of her and her children. That's tradition. Those of you hating that, corrupting that, are the problem. Can't serve two masters, judging by the fruits. I hope this reaches some people. I'm not here, to get super chats or likes. I'm here to help. God willing, I've done at least a little bit of that. All right, people. Mark 13:13. You'll be hated for my name's sake. Blessed are those who endure to the end. You'll be hated for my name's sake. Who's that more than ever right now? Is it not the Orthodox Christians? Those of the faith? The Europeans? Who's hated more? The men? The traditionalists? The traditional men? Who's hated more? Mark 13:13. You'll be hated for my name's sake. Blessed are those who endure to the end. Matthew 24. This too shall come to pass. I love you all. Take care. God bless. Please take care of each other. And I'll see you in a few days on Pride Month.